Qapla!
I'm going to take this opportunity, however, to suggest that we all hail hur'q. Oh, that's all I'm saying.
Forgive me, Doctor. I'm receiving a number of distress calls. I don't doubt it.
Y'all remember to tip your waitresses. Have a mighty fine night.
You come in peace, surrender or be destroyed. Here to make war, we surrender. Falsehood, important things are needed to be.
When the appointed hour arrives, the Marauders will deactivate their cloaking devices and begin transporting Klingon shock troops directly to the landing zone.
Landing zone? Where? Tell me.
Why not? Your feeble weapons will be useless against us. We will kill all your males and take your females to mate with.
All right. Now the Federation's taking over, whether you like it or not. You people, you've been running this planet like a piecework planet. From now on, it's gonna be under one roof. You're gonna run it like a business. That means you're gonna make a profit.
Look at these 3 words written larger than the rest, with a special pride never written before or since. Tall words, proudly saying, "We the people."
Hi, I'm Nicole DeBoer. I played Lieutenant Ezri Dax on DS9, and I welcome you to Bird O' Prey 5 channel. Hail Karoga.
Hail, Karoga. Hello, world. It's Bird O' Prey 5, Qapla, and welcome to Deep Space Nine Wednesday for November 18th, 2020. Today we're watching The Sword of Kahless, Season 4, Episode 9 of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. And of course, this is a very Klingon-centric episode. We've got Worf, and we've got the old respected Klingon warrior Kor, who, by way of his friend Dax, have found what he believes to be the resting place of the Sword of Kahless, the original Bat'leth, which was thrown into a river of lava. The original Kahless cut off a lock of his hair, threw it into a lake of lava, and forged it with his own hands into the Bat'leth that he used to slay his tyrant brother Molar. And the original Bat'leth was stolen by the hur'q, who were these bad people who at one time invaded the Klingon Empire and plundered all their riches, and the Sword of Kahless was taken by the hur'q, and Kor believes he's found the resting place somewhere in the Gamma Quadrant, I believe, and him, Kor, Dax, and Worf all go on this journey to find it, and that's the episode where we find us at. And even though it's a very Klingon-centric episode, I'm going to be honest, it's not one of my favorite episodes because, frankly, it doesn't show Klingons in the best of light. And you say, well, almost no episodes show Klingons in the best of light, and I will grant you that. There are very few episodes that show Klingons to be fine, upstanding, citizens of the galaxy. But even Worf and Kor, in this episode, especially Worf, out of character, bad. I think we're supposed to believe that the Sword of Kahless actually holds a power, like some type of mystical power over them that causes them to act the way they do. But I think we all know in reality there's no mystical power. It's just the idea of power itself, the feeling that if you bring the sword back to the Empire, you could have a decent chance of leading the Empire. And it's just It's just a power corrupting, absolute power corrupting absolutely type thing. And I honestly, not to say that Worf is above such things, but frankly, Worf would be above such things. And I don't know. It was not one of my favorites along the way. It's not a bad episode. It is a bajillion times better than anything we'd see on Star Trek Discovery or Star Trek Picard. But as DS9 episodes go, where so many of them are standouts, this was one that always stood out for the wrong reasons for me. But I think it's still a fun episode, and I hope we all enjoy it. And yes, this is Kor after his plastic surgery, because Kor is one of the Klingons we see in TOS, but now he looks like a TNG Klingon again. So he obviously had plastic surgery to look like how Klingons were supposed to look. It's one of those episodes. So let's start with the chat. And Karoganite was first today. Viva Karoga! Everybody is late, says Karoganite. Qapla Karoganite. Not Ryan Johnson says hello in Qapla. Bird is sleepy, or maybe making repairs to his crashed space engineer ships, or attacking New Wessex. I'm not attacking New Wessex. I did have to repair the space engineer ship. I opened Space Engineers this morning, and my prized, my awful mining ship, I call the TriStar Miner because it's got 3 drills. The TriStar Miner was heavily damaged. I was shaking my head. I was wondering how, I just was surprised that it was so damaged that whoever took it out, whoever being Life with Matthew, since he was the only person I knew that was around my base, that he managed to get it back and put it, dock it again. I was actually quite impressed. So I fixed it. It was really no big deal. It was just a couple of cargo containers, a few thrusters, a couple of batteries, an ore detector, and some odds and ends. And actually, I improved it a little bit. And then when I got off the game and I checked Twitter, sure enough, Life with Matthew had messaged me saying what really happened was that he had built his own ship. You see, in my infinite wisdom, I said, oh, we're going to have more than one person at this base now. I will build a second place for a second ship to dock. But I built it directly over where my ship docked. So Life with Matthew apparently had his own mistake and it caused his ship to fall from its dock. And the only thing between his ship and the ground was my ship. So I guess that is why my ship had so much damage, but hadn't actually been undocked. It never left the dock. It got hit. So I fixed my ship up. I don't see Life with Matthew's ship anywhere. I did go ahead and put a floor between us now. So if Life with Matthew does want to get back in the game and want to rebuild a ship or redock it, we can now dock on the second level without any risk of falling through to the ship that's docked in the bottom bunk, if you will. Of course, you could always just put a connector somewhere else on the base. There's plenty of room. 47 Yorktown says, hello, everybody. Qapla 47 Yorktown. Eastland Burkholder says, I hope to get back here, but I might not. Bird, hope Mamo Pray got good news. Yes, Eastland, Mamo Pray, and for everyone else who's out there, Mamo Pray did have a doctor's appointment today. She went to the doctor. She made it there. She made it home. Uber was a disaster, but the doctor was good news. Things seem to be going well. Mamo Pray is still improving. The doctor didn't see anything to worry about. Gave Mamo Pray some exercises to do, and we will remain cautiously optimistic that Mamo Pray will continue to improve. So it was good news. There was nothing, doctor didn't say, oh, we see something or anything like that. So it's basically as good as news as you could get. But, you know, it's Vertigo is, I don't think anybody truly knows 100% what to expect. You just got to take it cautiously and day by day, which is what we're doing. But Mamo Pray was very happy that there was nothing major or new, and the doctors basically said keep doing what she's been doing. So I want to thank everybody who has reached out, who has asked, and just for those who weren't sure, Stone Loki contacted me today, and those all know a couple weeks ago, Loki did a fundraising stream for the GoFundMe I set up. And today, although he didn't do it through GoFundMe, he sent it directly to my PayPal so as to save the GoFundMe percentage. He sent me the money he raised during his stream. So, like he said he would, and I knew he would. I didn't bother him about it. I knew he'd probably wait until YouTube paid him, and I guess that's what he did, because he contacted me today, asked for my PayPal, and sent it over. So a big thank you again to everyone who donated to Loki's Mornings of Mischief during his stream a few Mondays back that he dedicated to Mamo Pray. A big help, and that will help pay for this last week of people who are coming to the house to help us and Mamo Pray, and we'll see what goes on, what we'll do for future weeks. Big thanks, and we're all squared away with Loki. I mean, not that anybody has asked, but just so, yes, he did do as he said he would, which is awesome because we all knew he was going to. But yeah, all that's done. So thank you so much. A big thank you again to Loki, which I wrote to him. I gave him my personal thanks and Mamo Pray's personal thanks. But of course, if you're listening, Loki, and I don't know if you are, once again, thank you. Loki always goes above and beyond, and he always comes through. So I will hail and shout out to Valhalla, the only other nation that may be an equal of Karoga. And New Wessex, I know it's still new, but maybe one day New Wessex can join with Karoga and Valhalla as true rulers of the world. So yeah, and Thomas Potts, his bird is late. I'm not late, Thomas. John Araki said, shields up. Qapla, John Araki. Not Ryan Johnson says, Thomas Potts, no, you're late. That's true, he is late. He is late. And let me see if at that point, can I go to, yes, I can. I can go to the pop-out chat. Over here. And cool. Dan23 says, here's the new CBS Star Trek image with Voyager J, and puts in a link. Very cool. I think I saw it on Twitter. Zort says, Mike Richards, Qapla, Mike Richards. And he says, greetings from Columbus, Ohio. That's more like it. Carlo Albanese says, hi, I hope everyone is as well as can be. Thank you, Carlo. I'd say that's exactly how we are. 47 Yorktown says, hello, young sir. Thank you, 47 Yorktown. Qapla. Carlo Albanese says, praise Karoga. Absolutely. John DeMarco says, hi to everyone. Eastland says, hi to Carlo and others. Not Ryan Johnson says, bird of prey. It's about time getting this thing started. Yes, well, I started like 15 minutes early, so now we won't be that far behind. Marcus Gallagher says, howdy to the chat peoples. Eastland Burkholder says, love Kirk. Mako says, praise Karoga and our glorious leader Bird. Death to Turdistan. Absolutely. Eastland says, I love Kirk as a gangster clip. Yes. Project Storytime says, let's do this. Marcus Gallagher, how is she still so pretty? Nicole DeBoer. I tell you, she was very young. She was very young on DS9. Project Storytime says, this is really Worf's first episode since he joined the show. This is the first Worf episode. Yes, I would say so. Especially the first Worf and Dax episode. Karoga Knight says, Viva the Karoga Space Force. You know, I tried to order a Space Force shirt today from, from a website of a person who was banned off YouTube, so whose name I shouldn't say, but begins with Alex and ends with Jones. And so I went to his website to order because he has some nice Space Force t-shirts. And I guess they decided that the credit card companies can't do business with him because I tried 2 credit cards and they both got declined. So yeah, no Space Force t-shirt for me.
I've been monitoring your communications with Star.
Joseph Patrick with a €2 super chat. Thank you so much, Qapla, Joseph Patrick. He says, Bratislava will rule over everybody. I mean, Qapla, Joseph. And we've all seen Bratislava. We've all seen Eurotrip. Bratislava, the train, once the train gets to Bratislava in a few years, you know, maybe you guys will get Miami Vice, the #1 new show on television. But until then, I don't think we have much to worry about Bratislava. Yes, Project Storytime says this is Kor after his plastic surgery. Marcus Gallagher says, drop the mink. I need a reminder. Do you mean the link? The link is https://birdoprey5.com/sr. I'll see if somebody put it in. Otherwise, I'll put it in before we start. John DeMarco says, I see your point, but I think out of character, stuff was intentional. Power corrupts, etc. Yeah, but I don't know. Worf has been above and beyond so many times. If he could be corrupted by a Batleth, then, you know, why would he, when he was given the chance to become leader of the Klingon Empire at the end of the season, he gladly gave it to Martok. It doesn't make sense. And Worf was a big fan of the Emperor, even though he was a clone. So I still think Worf would have given it to Emperor Kahless. Thomas Bott says, good job, Agent Matthew. And there's John DeMarco puts in website address. Dan23 says, Bird of Prey in non-canon. The sword makes a return in the video game Star Trek Armada, and the ancient aliens mentioned make a return in the video game Star Trek Invasion. Well, the ancient aliens are the hur'q. I have a hard time believing this sword is ever going to get found again. But when we get to that point, we'll talk about it. Project Storytime says flying is just falling and missed the ground. That's true. John DeMarcos is glad to hear Mamo Prey is doing better. Thank you, John. Project Storytime says get well soon, Mamo Prey. And Loki is good people. He absolutely is. Pixelate is waving or clapping. Welcome, First Citizen Pixelate. By the way, I have to do some updates on some membership. Project Storytime says glory is fleeting except in Valhalla. Okay, so updates on membership. First off, Mike Blair. I don't remember if I noticed you becoming a member 4 days ago. I saw you became a member, a friend of Karoga. I don't remember calling you out. If I did, I apologize for not putting your list on the list of members that scrolls across when I open the stream. You have been added, my friend. Thank you for becoming a friend of Karoga to Mike Blair. Next, I went through the list of subscribers, members, channel members, and I see that a couple of people had changed. Wesley Crusher had upgraded from a friend of Karoga to a Karoga citizen. So Wesley, you've been upgraded in the list to a Karoga citizen. Thank you so much. And was there, I think that was it for the changes. But if there was anyone else, I reconciled the list of current members with the scroll that scrolls across when we do the open to the stream. So you guys, if you were looking for your name, it should have been there today. If you don't see it, please let me know. We should be updated as of today. So thank you for everybody. I never thought we'd get any citizens. I never thought we'd get a governor, let alone a governor, Cinnabon the governor. I didn't think we'd have any citizens. We didn't think we'd have any governor. I thought maybe, 3 or 4 people might become friends of the channel. We currently have 21 channel members, including a governor, 4 or 5 citizens, and the rest, friends of Kuroga, friends of the channel. It's so awesome. Thank you guys so much for your support. And just the people who super chat or just share my videos, you guys will still do a tremendous amount of support for the channel. So thank you, all of you. And people who helped or donated for Mamo Pray or just prayed for Mamo Pray. Thank you to everyone. Truly humbling. Thomas Pot says, Bird of Prey. So Kuroga, Valhalla, and Wexus are the Axis with world takeover plans. No, we're not the Axis. Rock Solid says, Bird of Prey, Wonder Boy, greater than Alex Kidd, but both are fun. No, Rock Solid. Alex Kidd in Miracle World is like Super Mario Brothers plus Sonic plus whatever that Bonk. It's like all Wonder Boy, all of the games combined. Okay, Alex Kidd in Miracle World. I don't know what he would eat between levels, or if that was a rice cake or something, and why did he look like a monkey man? But whatever the deal was with Alex Kidd in Miracle World was the shit. Okay, I don't want to hear no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Alex Kidd could beat the crap out of Sonic, could hop on Mario, and yes, Mario, and just fling him into a mushroom or a fucking drain pipe and just send him off to die with the princess or whatever. Alex Kidd is the shit. Okay. 8-bit, he ruled the world. He ruled the 8-bit world. Life with Matthew says, good afternoon, Bird of Prey, and all. Don't forget to hit that like button, people. Thank you so much, Life with Matthew. And you've been forgiven, officially forgiven for damaging the mining ship. Rock Solid says, Bird of Prey, Ezri couldn't hold Jadzia's bra. Well, maybe one day we'll see if she can. Thomas Potts says, Bird of Prey, Twitter said Kuroga isn't peaceful. Twitter's wrong. Robert Rose Jr. says, hello again today, Bird of Prey, Mamo Prey, and Sassy. Hope all is going well. Thank you, Robert Rose. So far, so good. Tiki of Doom says, Qapla, the answer to 1984 is 1776. I do believe that might have been a t-shirt. The Intended says, Alexander Burt Jones, great guy. Thomas Potts says, Bird of Prey, during the Turtistani secret meeting with the Pentagon, they gave me a Space Force shirt. Son of a bitch. Joseph Patrick says, Bird of Prey was late to the party. What is the update in Mom, or 10 words or less? Mamo Prey. What's one word? Mamo Prey, doing well. Doctor says, keep doing what she's doing. Okay. There you go. All good with Mamo Prey, Joseph. Doctor is happy to how she's been doing, and we just keep on going on. Rock Solid says, Bird of Prey, it sucks that creators got 0 notifications when there are new members. It does suck. It's like, why, for all the emails YouTube still sends, send me a goddamn email when somebody, joins my channel, right? Maybe I might want to know that. But I've been checking. I just, the last few days it got super busy over here, so I didn't get a chance to check. So 4 days went by, and I was like, oh shit, did I didn't remember, because usually when somebody joins, I make the change right after that stream, and I didn't remember doing it for Mike Blair, and so I did it. Dan23 says this is a good episode of DS9. Well, I mean, it might be, Dan. Depends. Mike Richards says, gives a thumbs up to Thomas. Tiki of Doom says, rock solid. What does that guy know about video games? Robert Rose Jr. says, Q lied or exaggerated about Wesley Crusher when he age progressed him to a full-grown man. He looks nothing like that now. He's all grown up. Yeah, Q just lied. Okay, yeah, Wesley, Will Wheaton would pay real money to look like the guy he looked like. We all knew that was not what he was going to grow up to be. I'm sorry. You could tell that was not Wesley's Crusher's future body. Rock Solid says, Bird of Prey, Alex Kidd is good, but the controls are too slippery. It's worse than Super Mario Brothers. Wonder Boy is pretty flawless. No one ever remade Alex Kidd for a Nintendo system like they did Wonder Boy. Well, no, they kept it on Sega, and there were new Alex Kidds made for Sega Master System, for Sega Genesis. Why would we put it on? Why would you make it on Nintendo? Nintendo don't, right? Genesis does what Nintendo don't. Like, Dan23 says, some people throw up when they eat rice cake. I'm not surprised. Roxad says, Tiki of Doom, I know nothing about Vigga games. Tiki is laughing. Project Storytime says, I prefer Brooklyn Mario to Italian stereotype Mario. Changed my mind. Are they different? Dan23 says, you can get notifications for emails for certain things. Yeah, but not that, apparently. Roxad says, Bird of Prey hates Mike Blair. No, I don't hate Mike Blair. Not confirmed. Eastland says, Robert, correct, Q lied about Wesley, what he would look like as an adult. Project Storytime says, Q removed the soy. That's likely what it was. Cinnabon Bunny, hello Cinnabon Bunny. Qapla again, and welcome again to a Karogan governor. Thomas says hello to Cinnabon. Darth Maul says, Bird of Prey, does anyone know what happened to the actor who played that older Wesley Crusher? Not a clue. Not his name, not what he did. No idea. Eastland Burkholder, did Q give Wesley's the look young Wesley would have wanted? Yes. Probably. Cinnabon says hi to Thomas. Rock Solid says, Bird of Prey, Wonder Boy was so amazing. They couldn't keep it just to Sega systems. It had to be taken from the abyss to the richness that was Famicom and NES. Nonsense. Total nonsense. Tiki says, I agree, New York Mario is better. And Dan23 says, this may apply. You'll be notified about them in the community tab. Yeah, no, I didn't get notified in the community tab either. So, who knows? But we're just a couple minutes away from starting this episode. However, I am going to play a commercial real quick. We'll be right back, and then we're going to get started with the episode. See you in a minute.
Give me a mountain and nothing to do. Give me the sunshine, give me a dew. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and smooth, refreshing mountain dew. Yeah, give me a river, give me a dew. Give me my good friends, give me a dew. Give me the sunshine, give me a dew.
What's in this little blue egg that keeps Barbara Eden looking slim and trim?
Oh, there's only one answer to that. It's Legs Control Top Pantyhose. See, Legs slims and trims but doesn't bind. So you get comfort and control.
Stretching, bending, standing, sitting. There's one pantyhose that's always spinning. Nothing beats a great pair of legs.
One of the nice things about McDonald's Chicken McNuggets, those hot, tasty pieces of boneless chicken, is that they're packaged in sizes for every appetite. Let me illustrate. Enter the six-pack. A logical lunch. McNuggets 9, a delight for dinner. And a pack of 20? Hey, perfect for picnics and parties. Of course, these are mere suggestions. Your appetite will be the true guide.
It's a good time for a great taste of McDonald's.
It's a corner of America with cozy harbor towns. It's salty air, wicker chairs, and a surf that pounds. The spirit of Massachusetts is the spirit of America. The spirit of the red, white, and blue. The spirit of Massachusetts is the spirit of America. The spirit that we want to share with you.
For your free Massachusetts vacation kit, call 1-800-624-MASS.
Massachusetts. The hell wants to go to Massachusetts? I mean, hello world. I'm back. I didn't say anything terrible about Massachusetts. Close one. Close one. Where are we? Rock Solid says, Bird of Prey, I'd agree with you, but then we'd both be wrong. Dan23 puts in a buffering icon. Well, I hope you've refreshed. Darth Maul says, all these protests about boob armor have me wanting to see the topless or armorless protesters. I'd be all for that. Rock Solid says, Dan23, there are 0 notifications from YouTube to creators when new members join. Patreon does notify creators, however. Mike Richards gives a thumbs up to Rock Solid. Joseph says, when she asks for some drops of your due. Yes, from the commercial. I was looking at the great pair of legs, personally. Dan23 says, I did it, said it may apply. Yeah, may apply. Google said to check the community tab. They don't even know. They don't know. Robert Rose says, soft drinks and glass bottles for some reason just taste better. They need to start doing them again across the board. They absolutely do. And in fact, you can still get Coke in glass bottles. And here's the way Coke, for me, the best Coke is Coke in a glass bottle, number 1. 2, Coke from a fountain, like a McDonald's fountain Coke with ice. Second best. 3, Coke in a can. And 4, and at the bottom is Coke from a plastic bottle. That's the Coke. That's the order in which Cokes are best. Project Storytime says, Bird of Prey, 25-year-old Wesley was played by William Wallace. According to IMDb, he hasn't been in anything since 2003. Poor William Wallace. Tiki of Doom says, yeah, the country in these commercials is long gone. Yeah. Darth Maul says, is that the spirit of Massachusetts, that woman who drowned with Ted Kennedy? Rock Solid says, Bird of Prey, you live in Caroga / New York. You have 0 room to criticize any state anywhere. And yet I still criticize, yes, Taxachusetts, says John Iraqi. Joseph Patrick says, it's about 120 years. That will be a completely new set of people on the planet. This is true. Rock Solid says, McDonald's Coke is terrible. It always gives me heartburn. I don't think it's the Coke giving you heartburn, Rock Solid. It's probably the McNuggets. Dan23 puts in some emojis. Lord Thoth says, Bop, great to see you. Hail, everyone. Hail, Lord Thoth. Qapla. Tiki says, Darth Maul took me a minute, but lol. Oh, it was a deleted message. Darth Maul says, the best Coke is from Mexico. The drink isn't bad either. That's true. Mexican Coke is actually sold in stores around here. Glass bottle Mexican Coke. Mako says, I'd rather be with Bratislava than Massachusetts. Me too. Even the Bratislava we saw in Eurotrip. I don't like Coke vanilla. Yuck. Neither do I. I don't like cherry Coke, vanilla Coke, anything but regular classic Coke. Rock Solid says, Coke greater than Pepsi, greater than cherry Pepsi, greater than cherry Coke, vanilla Coke, greater than vanilla Pepsi. It's just Coke greater than Pepsi, period. Eastland Verkholder says, and if one wants to hit someone on the glass, bottle is much better than the can or the bottle. Yes, that's true. If you want to hit someone, the glass bottle is best to have. Dr. Dave says, howdy y'all. Qapla, Dr. Dave. We're just about to get ready to watch our episode. So if you haven't yet already, get your own copy of Star Trek Deep Space Nine Season 4, Episode 9, the Sword of Kahless ready, or come to the Bird of Prey 5 screening room at https://www.birdofprey5.com/SR, and you can watch with me. Aravik Sonder with a $2 super chat. Qapla, Aravik Sonder. This is Cherry Coke Slurpee at the movies. I never liked it Slurpees of cherry, of any Coke. I just like good old-fashioned liquid Coke on ice with a straw from a fountain. From a fountain. And I don't mean like a fountain in the middle of the town square. I mean a soda fountain. Ace Mr. Freeze says Lord Thoth, hail, and hail Bird of Prey 5. Qapla, Ace Mr. Freeze. Project Storytime says most of Massachusetts is fine. The biggest problem is that Boston controls the entire state. I used to live there. Rock Solid says Bird of Prey, I don't eat McDonald's. Their food is gross, and their people making the food around here are disgusting. McDonald's Coke is a different formula. Yeah, it's a better formula. Dr. Dave says, Lord Thoth, I'm sure I just saw you a minute ago. Dan is lolling. Lord Thoth says, Sword of Kahless was a good episode, but not great. I had a few issues with that whole story, but a bad DS9 episode is like an international bestseller compared to STD. Absolutely. Joseph Patrick says, you wouldn't like Bratislava in real life. Why not? I bet I would. I bet I'd love Bratislava. Mike Richards says, rock solid, that heartburn is probably your repressed rage trying to get out. Tiki of Doom says, Mexican Coke is okay. Lord Thoth says, hail to Mr. Freeze. Project Storytime says, Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper, oh my God. Greater than all other soft drinks. Darth Maul says, it's Wednesday. At Tiki of Doom, it's good. Lord Thoth says, Dr. Dave, you did it. Same. Dan23 says, you must like invisible soda as you like Birds of Prey. Oh no. Rock Solid says, Bird of Prey, you missed that. You misread that. Coke greater than Pepsi, period. Next comparison, Cherry Pepsi greater than Cherry Coke, period. Next comparison, Vanilla Coke greater than Vanilla Pepsi. Well, period is the first one. None of those are valid after that. Dr. Dave says DS9, yes. Rock Solid says German Coke is okay. They don't use sugar. Dr. Dave says Coke it is. Rock Solid says at least Bird of Prey calls it soda, not pop. Oh God, I'd hit myself if I called it pop. I can't. The only thing worse than calling it pop is calling all soda Coke. And I'm sorry to the people out there in Georgia, but like I get why you had so much trouble voting. Because if you go to Georgia and you say, I want Coke, and they say, well, what type of Coke do you want? Sprite? I'd say, no, fucker, I want Coke. I asked for Coke, I want Coke. So I'm guessing what happened is people went to Georgia and said, I want to vote for Trump. And they're like, well, what Trump do you want? Biden? And people were like, I don't know. I got confused. So yeah, if people say Coke, they mean Coke. And if they mean Sprite, then they should have said Sprite. There's no such thing as Sprite Coke or Pepsi Coke or 7-Up Coke or Iced Tea Coke or whatever other Cokes you think there are. There's Coke. Coke is a brand name. That's what they want. Ace Mr. Freed says, Lord Thoth, I agree this isn't the best DS9 episode at all, but in the context of Star Trek, it's definitely the top half. But with STD, Picard, and Lower Decks, that doesn't mean much anymore. Mago says, I heard the whole of Wall Street is on Coke 24/7. If it's good for them, it's good for us too. Hey, one of our most popular presidents was on Coke. You know, and I think Jeff Franklin might have visited him just because of the, you know what I'm talking about. And if you watched History with R&R recently, you would understand that reference, that you absolutely should watch History with R&R. Dan23 says Coca-Cola lollipop sweets. No. Cheeky says McDonald's Coke is watered down. That's why I love it. Dr. Dave says I'm Brew is great, or was until they removed most of the sugar. Earn Brew. I never heard of it. Yosef says, I prefer Coke with the original recipe, Bird. I wrote you would like Bratislava. I do like Bratislava in real life. I knew I did. Darth Maul says, sadly, it's not Kaylee's, but Kaylish now. No, it's Kahless, the unforgettable. Lord Thoth says, Ace Mr. Freeze agreed. Love all TOS episodes. TNG good episodes, but DS9 on average were better. Absolutely. Dr. Scotty says Royal Crown Cola is also a good choice. No, not in the United States. Dan23 says don't mix Coke and Mentos. I think it's only Diet Coke that it does it. Dr. Dave says Coca-Cola is from a glass bottle, as in Irn-Bru, Scotland's other national drink. Scotland. Sounds good. Soda Pop, says Eastland. I mean, if you have to call it soda pop, that's fine, but soda is perfectly acceptable. Thomas is Bird of Prey. I'm shocked Michael Burnham didn't find the Sword of Kahless. She might. There's still time, Thomas. Dan meant to say invisible cola. I think you knew what I meant. I knew what you meant. Project Storytime says hashtag all sodas matter. No, not in my line of work. They don't. Okay, I'm very sodarist. I have my favorites. Dr. Dave says, in the west of Scotland, all fizzy drinks are called ginger after ginger ale, I guess. Well, sounds like Scotland's pretty messed up, too. Eastland is laughing. Coke is Coke. Lord Thoth says Pepsi is the only pop ever. Ace Mr. Freeze says, thanks to Bird of Prey and Doomcock, I started going back to TOS, and I'm really liking a lot of it. Awesome. Especially after watching Discovery. Even the so-called bad episodes of TOS, like Spock's Brain and The Way to Eden. Masterpieces compared to Star Trek Discovery. Robert Rose says, now Mountain Dew is the best soda drink. Joseph says, soda is carbonated water, not a frickin' soft drink. Oh, Joseph. John DeMarco says Burnham probably created the Sword of Kahless. Mike Richards says, Thomas, don't give them ideas. Lord Thoth says, maybe Mountain Dew. No, Mountain Dew. Oh, God. John DeMarco's laughing. Carl is okay, I'll get some Pepsi Coke. Thanks, Bird. John DeMarco says, Kahless. Stupid autocorrect. Yes, there we go. Ace Mr. Freeze says, Swords of Kahless are pivotal for Star Trek and the Klingons, even if the episode leaves me a little wanting. Eastland says, Ace, yeah, TOS is fun. Dan says, well, lots of sodas made by Coca-Cola. As you can see the logo on the back. Thomas, hashtag Bird can't read. Really, Thomas? Kalish says Tiki. Roxanne says, RC Cola is terrific. No. Oh, God, it's not. Hashtag I know Crystal Skull for Bird. No, Project Story Time. No. Okay, we gotta skip ahead here. Rock Solid says, Bird of Prey, I never understood RC Cola with moon pies. I don't know what a moon pie is. Mike Richards says, hashtag Free Nicole and NV Geeks, let's talk. Got Kissing Dax. Awesome. NV Geeks, let's talk donated $2 through Super Chat. It was a get a job, you lazy YouTuber, lol, Qapla. Thank you, NV Geek. Let's talk. Kissing Dax and the Super Chat. Well done. So Mike Richards says Free Nicole. Darth Maul says Coke Lives Matter. Roxod says TOS is still mostly terrible in his opinion. Roxod says Bird of Prey, Sun Drop, greater than Mellow Yellow, greater than Mountain Dew. I haven't drank any of those. I have drank Tab, Darth Maul. And Dr. Dave says, sadly, getting late and work in the morning. Take care, all. See you again. Take care, Dr. Dave. But with that, we are going to go ahead and get started. So head over to the screening room if you haven't. I have to open up the screening room. We are at the beginning. If you have your own copy of the episode, or you're going to watch on Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, or CBS All Access. We're going to Season 4, Episode 9, The Sword of Kahless. And I'm going to hit play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
Walls of fire on one side.
Walls of fire. Rivers of lava.
Snaked our way through the hot, smoldering
They snuck their way through skin so parched and blistered. It was as thick as armor. Kor is telling a story. Quark is had it. Worf is listening from a distance. He's like, you know what I like about Klingon stories, Commander? Nothing. Lots of people die, says Quark. Nobody makes any profit.
I saw him kill 24 men.
He saw him kill 24 men. Oh, you guys can hear it. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you. Odo says it's not very likely. O'Brien's like, who cares? He tells it well. So, the 3 sons to his back, he forced the enemy to fight him against the blinding light. He said, when Kang told the story, Kor took the high ground. He said, who takes the credit doesn't matter. And the mountainside was covered with blood. Not 1 square meter of ground could be seen. The river's waters red with blood. Which of them had slain him? No one could say for certain. He cut out his heart, and all 3 of them feasted on it together. Big heart, yeah. Dax says Dax needs more blood wine. Thank you guys about the audio. And Frog says, by the way, Animaniacs returns this Friday. It absolutely does. Dax is telling Worf to join them. The Daha Master would be uncomfortable if Worf joins them. He's been ostracized by most Klingons. Jadzia says that she thinks, oh shit. Sorry about that. She thinks Kor would like to see him. Okay. He'd like you to meet our strategic operations officer, Worf. Worf, the traitor. The pariah. The lowest of the low. And he smiles. He says, it's a pleasure to meet you. Any enemy of Gowron in the High Council is a friend of mine. And he puts out his hand for a handshake. He says, this is a great honor, says Worf. He says, Worf's a great admirer of his, says Dax. He says, please sit. He's heard stories since he was a child. Kirk on Agania. Tak on Romulus. He says, everything he's done pales into what he's about to achieve. A quest for the most revered icon in Klingon history. An icon that predates the Empire itself. And more sacred than the torch of whatever. More sacred than somebody's armor. And more coveted than the Emperor's crown. The Sword of Kahless. And Dax says, you told me not to tell anybody. Kor knows where the sword rests. The honor of finding the bat'leth of the first warrior. It's lost for a millennium. If returned, it would change Klingon history. He's like, if you know where it is, we must bring it back to the Emperor. Worf says, we. And Kor's like, we. Worf says, it'd be a great honor to accompany you if you'd have me. Dax says we could use another strong arm. Kor is like, yeah, he says, plus it'll annoy Gowron, so he's happy. That to return the sword to our people, he would give his life for that chance. Dan says, I can hear the audio on YouTube. Okay, yeah, can't hear it now. NB Geek says, CBS called Bird of Prey. His response, I cannot bring CBS to Star Trek back from the dead. It's not a pretty picture. Do not like doing it. And Rock's odds is bird of prey Jadzia greater than all other trills. He's got a map. Oh no, it heard this. It held the Sword of Kahless. It's a shroud of the sword. It's like the shroud of Turin. So no one tried to sell this to him. It was given to him. He needs Dax to confirm its authenticity. She'll look it over in the lab first thing in the morning. Worf's like, what about right now? She's like, right now I'm swimming in blood wine and I'm going to bed, and so should you. He will once he finishes what's left in his cup. Majoran, blood brother. Oh, he just dumped in. It says, imagine the look on Gowron's face when we present the sword to the Emperor. Worf's already all in. Worf is already all in. Project Storytime, this is a shame, Captain. It would have been glorious. Kor, yes. Oh, and now this guy kind of mind rapes Kor. He puts his hands on his head. He's reading his mind without his permission. It's a really scary alien. What did he say? I missed it. Oh, open your mind. He said, open your mind. It's kind of like a Vulcan mind meld, but much more violent. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Dun, 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 dun. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Do, do. By the way, this episode was directed by none other than LeVar Burton, Mr. Geordie LaForge, Mr. Reading Rainbow, Mr. Kunta Kinte himself. And welcome, Admiral Saval, Qapla, says Yo Birdie. Lorthos says Garfield in space. So Dax wakes up. Kor, he couldn't make it to bed. He just fell asleep on the floor. He doesn't know that he had been mind wiped or whatever. He's like, how late did he keep Worf up? He said, until the Ferengi threw her out of the bar. And then where did they go? Worf's quarters, he thinks. He had a bottle of Viridian brandy. He was honored to join the quest. That is, if there's going to be a quest. What did she find? She found both Klingon and hur'q DNA and traces of metallic compound left by a Klingon bat'leth, because a Klingon bat'leth has a unique metal compound signature, like a mek'leth couldn't possibly have. It's from the time of Kahless. He never doubted it. He's like, when can we leave? He's like, after she talks to Captain Sisko. And he's like, where did you get this? Oh, we see Sisko. We see a futuristic electric razor. I think this is the first time we've seen an electric razor in Star Trek. I couldn't mind having that razor. Like really? He's that busy, they've got to talk to him while he's shaving? That's a power move. I mean, the only one bigger than that is, like, talking while he's on the toilet. Like, come in, talk. You sure? We'll wait till you're done. No, come in now. So hur'q is the Klingon word for outsider. They invaded 1,000 years ago. They took the sword, and they've been searching for it ever since. They said its return will bring a new era of glory for the Empire. And with the sword, the Emperor will be able to unite the people. And Sisko says if 2 Starfleet officers were involved in recovering the sword, that might go a long way to patching things up with the Klingons. Because remember, at this point, the Klingons and the Federation, I believe, are still, I don't think they've restated. I think they're not technically allies anymore. Or if they are, they're uneasy allies. So he wants a runabout. So yes, Dax says thanks. What was that, Sassy? Some noise from the back of the house. Probably something in the bathroom. Tuvok used the straight edge, says Project Story Time. Garfield in space. Kor says, let this moment be remembered. On this day, we 3, Kor, Dahar, Master, Jadzia, Dax, a joined trill of 7 lives, and Worf, son of Moog, and Thorn and Gowron side, together, stepped forth into the eye of destiny. The Dax says, now she can take off. Ahead half thrusters. Well, why is now Worf is a commander? Why is Dax giving the orders? Glorious, says Kor. I'm a little concerned. Why is Dax giving orders? Doesn't Worf outrank her? Oh, Jadzia is also a commander. I thought she was a lieutenant commander. She heard Kor snoring through the bulkhead. Worf is doing his calisthenics. He wishes to thank her for introducing him to Kor. It's an honor to be here. She's like, I'm glad you're here, even if it does make things a little crowded. Kor just woke up, gargling, and he swallows. He slept like an Albanian cave, whatever. He had the most magnificent dream. He dreamt the 3 of them were in the Hall of Heroes, presenting the Bat'leth to the Emperor. He stood near the statues of Kane and Koloth. As the crowd sang out their names, the most astonishing thing happened. The statues came to life. Kang and Koloth in flesh and blood. And we held the sword high. Kang, Koloth, and Kor together again. Very, very emotional for a Klingon. They're both lieutenant commanders, says Project Story Time. And so does John DeMarco. Okay. So Dax is reading a bunch of tunnels under the surface. Of course, that's all that remains of the hur'q. Darth Maul says, feminist agenda. We can't have such a manly person as Worf order a woman around. Lord Thus says, Dax may be a mission commander. She has a history with Kor from the episode Blood Oath. Yes. All the other great treasures looted by the hur'q. He's looking at a map. There's a force field around the chamber. He said the aliens told him they couldn't get through it. He says, we'll be the first to get through it. And Dax's like, why did you mention this force field before? He's like, it's not important. I know you'll get through it. They're just outside the force field. They beam into the cave. No real worry about, not having an entrance. No having to drill to make a hole. So they got to get the force field down. They got to modulate the field to stabilizers. Create an interference pattern. Oh, it's not working. Reverse the polarity, says Worf. That helped, says Jadzia. And now they're going to increase the amplitude. And hooray, it's down. Oh, that was, as they say on that channel, barely an inconvenience. So the air is stale and stinks because it's been closed up for hundreds of years. And now Kor is leading the way. Super easy, barely an inconvenience is what I meant to say on pitch meetings. Oh, it's been ransacked. The Vulcans didn't get in there, but somebody did. So the Vulcans couldn't take down a simple force field? Oh. Someone else beat them to it. They've taken everything. Oh, she's sorry to Kor. Dax likes science. Like, don't be sorry for me. Be sorry for the Empire. Worf is like, we could find out who did this. We could track them down. Kor's like, they could be halfway across the galaxy by now. Dax says, sounds like a worthy quest. Kor says, for Worf and her, maybe. But he's too old for this shit. Uh-oh, Worf found something. The dust. It does not reach the wall. Something's repelling the dust. There's a faint electrostatic charge. Another force field. Masked by a holographic projection. Yes, there's another chamber. But she doesn't know how to get into it. This shield has completely different harmonics than the other one. He says, this is a sensor. Must be keyed to read life signs. Only the hur'q could enter. We're going to need a hur'q to get us in. It says we might be able to fool the sensors into telling them that we're hur'q. And reconfigure the tricorder to emit hur'q life signs. He still luckily has the DNA readings from that towel. And sure enough, it worked. It's now completely walk-throughable. I don't know what the word would be. But there it is. The Sword of Kahless. 1,000 years. The hur'q have left it on a lighted pedestal for 1,000 years. Just waiting. The design, the competition, everything's right. He says, just look at it. Worf was going to lift it. But he tells Kor should be the first to hold it. And he should be. There he goes. He lifts it. Ah, yes, he has the power. How does it feel, asked Dax. Good. Very, very good, says Kor. Ah, that is Kahless's. Kahless himself once held this. Imagine if Jesus had a bat'leth and then we were holding Jesus's bat'leth. That's what it's like to them. And he gave it to Worf. He says, with this he slew Molar and forged the first empire. And now I hold it in my hands. He gives it back to Kor. And they're going to give it to Dax. Dax is like, we should go. This field's going to destabilize. We don't want to get stuck. And as soon as they come through the field, there are some other Klingons waiting for them. Well, Kor, seems you were right. You did find it. Like, who are you? He's like, ask your friend. This is Terrell from the house of Doros. Damn Doros. Good to see you too, Worf. He says, Kor is too drunk to remember him. You held us all spellbound with your tale of how you were going to lead you to the Sword of Kahless. Now, he was intrigued. He sent his friend to search his mind. He's like, we want the sword. He said, the sword is for the Emperor. He says, oh, so he can give Kor his statue and forgive your dishonor. He's got different plans for the sword, says Doros. Dee Myers says, bird of prey, Qapla, hello, hope all the family is doing as well as can be. Thank you, Dee. All is doing well. So Doros is going to lead the Empire when he gets the sword. Yosef says, the Bat'leth does not look like the one on Discovery. Not sure it's the right one. I was actually surprised it didn't look like the other Bat'leths we've seen. Specifically, it doesn't have the 3 holes. It's got one big hole. So Kor uses it to attack. Worf uses his knife to attack. Jadzia, of course, uses the power of plot to attack. And Worf gets stabbed, but he's still able to fight off a guy. And then the alien that breaks your mind almost got his hands around Jadzia's head. Like, let's go. And they're running. Why don't you shoot them all and stun them so they don't wake up? Heavy stun. You know, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to heavy stun them all. But of course they don't. Worf knocks over the projector, the force field. So they hit into the force field and they can't get out. God knows how they're ever going to get out, if they'll ever get out. They gotta stop the bleeding, but now they can't communicate with the ship. It's a Klingon jamming signal. They don't know if they can override it, maybe from the surface. Executive producer Saul Leibowitz, Qapla, Saul, he said. He understood the honor of being the first man killed in 1,000 years with the Sword of Kahless. Worf says we should keep moving. He says, why did Terrell say that you had spared his life? Worf says it was discovered the House of Doros had conspired to destroy his father. They offered him his life under the right of vengeance. Worf didn't do it. He said, why? He said he was a boy, he didn't do anything. And Kor said, you shouldn't have declined, it was a mistake. Dax says it was his right to decline. Of course, it was a mistake. He says, maybe what they said about Worf is right. He's been around humans too long. If he hadn't spared Terrell's life, we'd already be on Kronos. And Worf says, if you didn't get so drunk and tell a tavern full of people what you were planning, we wouldn't have been here. He said, I didn't tell him anything of consequence. How did he know he was going to send a Levthian to read his thoughts? Now Worf and Kor are pissed at each other. Kor, what was that all about? Jack's like, Worf admires you. You have no idea how much it meant for him to come on this journey. Says, how well do you know him? She's like, well enough. He's like, I might have been too lenient on him. Any Klingon that denies himself the right of vengeance is no Klingon at all. He doesn't trust him anymore. He should have let him stay in that space station. Well, too late now, Kor. Too late now. Stunning is dishonorable, says John DeMarco. It would have been Dax who did it. And they're certainly not using kill on their phaser now. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Dax. Oh, they're hunting for food. Dax got one. Oh, God, it's terrible. You're like, what is it? It's lunch. They use the old phaser trick to eat up a rock. Hunt fills the appetite. Dax says, it's disgusting. Kor says it'll make a great story. How we slow the beast 5 meters, 10 meters, says Dax. It breathes fire. Kor is laughing. Worf isn't. He's like, the son of Moog is not amused. He's like a true warrior, has no need to exaggerate his claims. He says, you better hope I exaggerate. Or when they get to your verse, when they start singing, it'll be, and Worf came along. Now he's using the batleth to eat the food off the rock. He's like, this is the Sword of Kahless. It is not something to shovel food into your mouth. It must be treated with honor. Worf puts it up against the rock. Thomas's bird of prey. How did a Cardassian vole get to the Gamma Quadrant? I think it's just very similar to a vole. He said, Kahless himself used it to skin a serpent and carve a statue. It's a sword. It's meant to be used. Well, he doesn't know what to do with it except bow before it and hand it over it to his emperor. He says, and when you do, you'll get your precious statue. And they'll sing songs about you after you've passed out from too much to drink. The emperor will use the sword to unite the people. He says, if Gowron allows it. Thomas is bird of prey. How did the Cardassian vote? I read that. The emperor condemned Gowron's invasion of Cardassia. Kor is saying the emperor's a pretender, a clone. Created a science experiment created by ambitious clerics. And he blames Worf for that too. He hadn't supported him, they wouldn't have him. He says, the sword will unite us if it's held by a true warrior, not a politician like Gowron, or some toothless figurehead like the emperor. The sword must rest in the hands of someone hardened by battle. By the way, for those who can see it, Wesley's picture is back up right there. The autographed picture of Gowron. Wesley, if you see this, thank you again, my friend. It'll be in better view on Bed Life Friday. We'll get a bigger view of what's going on back there. But it once again looks over my living room. So thank you, Wes. So Ginking, they're saying they gotta keep moving or make a bet. No, they kept moving. The long way to the surface, apparently. I have to change Worf's bandage, Dax says. He's hemorrhaging. Why doesn't he just cauterize it with the phaser? Like a man. Oh, his mek'leth is sticking out from his whatever behind him, his stash. He never asked Worf's questions about his plans for the sword. Dax is using her clothes to make a new bandage for Worf. So now we know why Worf is like, yeah, you should change bandages. And Worf will be like, I have a few more bandages you need to change. And Dax will have to cut off more of her clothes. He exaggerates his feats. He blames others for his own mistakes, says Worf. Emperor may be too weak to stand against Gowron, even with the sword. Dax says, I thought you believed in the Emperor. And Worf says, I don't know what I believe in. But I knew when Kor told him about the sword, he knew they would succeed. He knew they would find it. He felt as if his life was finally coming into focus. Jack's like, what do you mean? For as long as he can remember, he was raised by humans, but he was too Klingon to be one of them. He did not belong. He begged his foster parents to allow him to visit the Klingon homeworld, to arrange with him to stay with his cousins. When he first set eyes on the great domes of Kronos, he felt they'd finally come home. But his own cousins wanted nothing to do with him. He was too human to be one of them, says Dax. He went without food and water for 3 days. But there, in the caves, Kahless appeared to him and said he would do something no other Klingon had ever done. After he returned to Earth, he pondered the meaning. Touches his badge. He says when he was old enough, he joined Starfleet, something no Klingon had ever done. For a time, he thought he fulfilled his destiny. But now he sees Kahless had something else in mind, something greater. That's why he had to endure so much pain. Why he was forced to choose between the Federation and his people. He was being tested, prepared for some greater purpose, like finding the sword, says Dax. When he held the sword in his hand, he felt the spirit of Kahless himself. Don't you see? He wants him to have it. He wants him to lead his people. Dax says, you sound like Kor. Like Kor is an old man. His greatest days are behind him. But Worf's still ahead. Now, Kor is listening to all this. Kor has been listening to all this. And it is getting hot in here. Take this hat off. Kor is asking how much further? A while. Oh, they've come to a big hole in the cave. Cliff. The cliff. Maybe it's like Indiana Jones and there's just an invisible plank to walk over. It's like we go back and find another way. Worf is looking. He says, there. There's a ledge. Now, if you were going to a cave, wouldn't you maybe take a little climbing gear or something? I mean, I know they thought they were going to beam out, but there's always the risk. Oh, there goes Kor. Worf is holding on to the batleth, and Kor is holding on to the batleth. Kor, there's a ledge right below you. He doesn't see it. He says it's less than 1 meter down. Let go and you'll land on it. He's asking Dax if she can see it. Dax can't see anything. Worf is saying, I can't hold you. You have to let go. He says, there is no ledge. He says, it's there. He says, then you let go. He's like, I can't risk losing the sword. And he says, I'll take the sword to my grave before I give it to you. Worf, Dax says, just hold on, we'll pull you up. And that the power of Dax, Worf pulls Dax and Dax pulls up Kor. And they get Kor up. Now Worf takes the sword and Dax looks over and Kor looks over and there was very little ledge. Dax has to see how much of a ledge was there. And he says, you call that a ledge? She said it would be sufficient. He said, not for a Klingon warrior. You're going to let me to fall. You want me to die. And you want to hold the sword for yourself. He's like, you would take the sword to your death and rob our people of our future. Project Storytime says Worf thinks Kahless wants him to lead the Klingon people. That's why Worf chooses Martok instead of himself to lead. Wait, what? Well, it changes. Tiki of Doom says, I like that DS9 shirt. I got it off Amazon, Tiki. So Dax tells him to put away the dagger so he can put away the batleth. So Dax is going to take the batleth because she can't trust either of them anymore. So now Dax has the batleth. She says, I was right. He's not to be trusted, says Kor. And Worf says his mind has been poisoned with age. But Dax says he was right about one thing. You wanted him to fall. That ledge would have never supported him. He says, I didn't force him off that cliff. He's old and clumsy. If he had fallen, it would have been his own fault. Wow, Dax. Dax knows Worf don't take no shit. Dax says she's exhausted. John DeMarco says Worf learned from his experience and realized Martok would be a better leader. There's an amazing amount of light in this cave for being so underground. Like, where is the light coming from? Worf says he'll take the first watch. And so then we'll just curl up like trusting children. And he says, Worf says, sleep or do not. It makes no difference to him. Worf says he'll take the first watch. You get some rest. You close your eyes, Worf. Worf says he's not tired. And Kor says him neither. Dax is like, I'm tired, so F both of you. Kor says, I understand. It's hard to sleep in the presence of something so magnificent. Someone might try to steal it. He says, you reveal your own intentions. Dax is like, enough. I've got the sword. It's not going anywhere. She takes her phaser out. She sleeps with her phaser in her hand. That's safe. Kor says, what was that? Worf says, I heard nothing. He's like a voice. I hear it again. It's the spirit of Kahless. He's talking to you, Worf. He's telling you to bide your time. Let them sleep. And then slit their throats. And claim your destiny. Oh. Worf has had enough of his drunken ramblings. And Dax says, I've had enough of both of you. I don't care if you sleep or not. But I'm going to. So be quiet. Kor says, go ahead and sleep, Dax. He'll keep an eye on Worf. Dax knows this is not a good situation. She closes her eyes. She's going to try and get some sleep. And now they're fighting. Worf has said he's had enough. He's like, those eyes. He's been staring at me for 3 hours. And he says, what have you seen reflected in my eyes? Your own guilt, says Kor, looking at you. Dax says, all right. If you're not going to sleep, then let's walk. And Kor says he's not going anywhere with this traitorous Patak. And they both bring out their weapons. And he's like, Dax says, I'm not going to stand here. And then somebody's shooting at them. They made it out. Somehow they made it out from the force field. The Doros. Kor takes the batleth and charges after. He's going to get himself killed. Worf is like, no, he'll use the sword. And Worf goes with his mechleth. Worf knows that Kor is undefeatable with the sword. And Dax gives some fighting. And the Lefthian or whatever it is. Cut off his hands. Oh, there we go. Kor just stabs him right in the back. Worf got the. Why did Kor put down the Batleth? Anyway, they're fighting over it. Kor and Worf are fighting over the Batleth, and Dax is yelling at both of them. Neither of them will stop. There's only one rational thing to do. Dax phasers Worf, and Kor says, "I knew in the end you'd choose me." And she's like, "Be quiet." And then she stuns Kor as well. Now she's stunned both Worf and Kor. And now she wakes up the Doros guy and says about that jamming device. And she gets him to take down the jamming device. And now she puts the Sword of Kahless in the runabout. She looks at Kor and Worf. He's like, "Are you sure of this, Worf?" says Kor. "Yes," says Worf. "It's the only way. All these caves look alike." Kor says, "We have the right. This sword belongs to all Klingons." He says, "This turned you and me against each other. It would be used to divide the Empire." "He just wants to hold it one more time," says Kor. Worf says, "No, it was not our destiny to find it." Kor says, "No, it was our destiny to find it. It just wasn't our destiny to keep it." Very weird destiny. And so they beam it into space. They don't put it back where it was. They just beam it into space somewhere randomly, where in the Gamma Quadrant. Dax says it's for the best. Kor says, "I hope you're right. It could be lost for another 1,000 years. It could be lost forever." Right? A ship could just smack into it and be vaporized by their shields. It could go fall into a star. God knows what'll happen to it. But more than likely, in my opinion, is that Kor will go to a bar, get drunk, and tell the story about how he beamed the Sword of Kahless out at these coordinates. And then some other Klingon will go find the sword in the not too distant future. That's just my guess. That's my guess. Arabic Sana says, "Who are the hur'q?" The hur'q were an ancient alien race who invaded the Klingon homeworld Kronos over 1,000 years ago. They plundered the planet of all of its history and its riches, including this ancient Sword of Kahless. And it was found recently by Vulcans in the Gamma Quadrant, a hur'q vault or something. So they gave the coordinates to this Klingon, and he went with Dax and Worf, and that's where they found the Sword of Kahless, hidden behind an invisible door that the Vulcans didn't notice, or somebody who ransacked the place didn't notice. So that's the hur'q. Basically, in Klingon, hur'q means outsider. They were the first aliens that the Klingons ever had contact with, and they basically just smashed up Kronos and took everything they wanted. Probably what gave Klingons such a bad attitude towards all the other people in the galaxy. So you know what? Project Storytime says it's just floating in space. Nobody's ever going to find it. That's certainly a possibility. Assuming he knew the actual coordinates where they were released, and maybe, plotting the gravity or whatever, you could possibly figure out where it'll be in 50, 100 years, who knows? But I would say that if 1,000 years go by, it's gone. Nobody's ever going to find it. Well, unless, maybe sensors are so good. You may remember there's a metal signature in that metal that's found nowhere else but Klingon Batleth. So maybe with increased sensors, somebody could find it. I don't know. But I do know that I certainly wouldn't just leave it floating around space. That seems like a terrible, awful idea. And if you're going to do it, bring it back or hide it someplace. Hide it someplace and send a message to the Federation to like not open for 100 years or something, with its coordinates, something like that. But just beaming it into space, no, that's terrible. Plus, I mean, it's kind of directly against what Captain Sisko wanted. The whole point Captain Sisko gave him a runabout was so they could return the sword and, help the Federation get in good with the Empire again. So they kind of screwed over Captain Sisko a bit. Rambling Canuck says, hello, Bird of Prey and all. Qapla, Rambling Canuck. And I told everybody earlier in the stream to check out the latest history with RNR, the coverage of Franklin D. Roosevelt's president's death. And Jeff Franklin was there as a special correspondent. I suspect because he wanted to get to President Roosevelt's cocaine stash, which, as a historical fact, we knew he was prescribed by a doctor medicinal cocaine for breathing issues. So I think Jeff knew that, and that's why he liked to hang around President Roosevelt. The intendant is lolling. Executive producer Saul Leibowitz is Bird of Prey. Are you saying that the episode should have ended with a little card that said the end? Or is it? Yes, that is. Robert says, strange the Klingons were invaded like that, but they were able to kill their gods. Yes, it was. The intendant says Michael Burnham will find it. Thomas Potts says, Bird of Prey, in one of the Armada games, Worf goes back and gets the sword. Oh, that works for me. Teague of Doom says, if the sword wants to be found, it will be found. I suppose that's as good a explanation as any. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I say that will conclude our DS9 Wednesday. Tomorrow, look forward to my Star Trek Discovery review. Episode 6, I have no idea the title. And if all goes well, I will be on Loki's Mornings of Mischief at 9 a.m. Eastern. And I'll have my review out either before or shortly after that. And we'll see. Hoping for a decent episode, but we'll see what happens. Project Storytime says maybe Worf should use it by the power of Grayskull. Farewell to Columbus, Ohio. Take care, and Qapla. Absolutely. Bird out.